Good evening and thanks for joining us on the news on DBS television. Let's begin with our headlines. Current rains being received as a blessing by farmers across Cameroon appears to be a problem for other Cameroonians across the nation. Today we take a look at some of the devastating effects of yesterday's hours-long rainfall across the national territory. Still in this news, so-called born-again churches react to MINAT boss Paul Atanganji's hard hit on revival churches, accusing them of not contributing to the respect of COVID-19 barrier measures. Get details of these stories alongside many others in this newscast when we return shortly. Good evening once more and welcome to today's edition of the news on DBS television. I am Cynthia Ngwemo. We begin the news from the northwest region of Cameroon, notably on a stretch of road linking the northwest region to the west region, which has been hard hit by adverse weather conditions. A portion of the road between Santa in the northwest and Babaju in the west region collapsed in the course of yesterday's heavy downpour. The collapse of the road left vehicles and passers-by as well as passengers stranded as traffic was completely paralyzed in this part of the road. The road users are now forced to access either towns only through Fumban in the west region while waiting for the situation to be fixed. The same downpour caused a portion of road in Bambili, that is in the northwest region of Cameroon, to collapse as well. In some amateur images all over social media, a taxi is observed to have fallen and gotten stuck in the crumbled section of the road, while the people watch helplessly while also hoping for solutions. In other parts of Cameroon, people have begun seeing the after effects of this incident, which is also as a foretaste of the rainy season which is fast coming in the country. This is a situation that is very obviously not enjoyable in a number of places. In Kongsamba, the rainfall that occurred yesterday, March 24, from around 12 noon to 5 p.m. continuously, left heavy floods in the town, notably in Kongsamba 1. With rainwater flooding houses and roads, the people were left stranded and helpless, thus demanding that the problem of constant floods every rainy season be solved once and for all. In the following excerpt, we have one of the affected inhabitants who expresses his anger and frustration with a broken bridge that hinders him from running his daily activities. Our correspondent in the Mungo division, Frank Difo, captured this for the news. Listen.
I use the word Semek, then block. That was where they said they gave a command for Thursday. Where they say Ampo, make the not said nothing. Make they come block this bridge again. Make it be. Make them build again the bridge. Make it be big. Make it big. Make it. Now my house is my machine is stable. I got do now. 90. Look up. 90. Look up. 90. Wake up. What I'm going to do now? Me, I got do now. My people watch watching. My family go live now. I got at the right. At the right. Why would they reach to this end of it? I beg. Make government look what way from somebody. Now what? Premier Ville, they turn this zero. Now what? I beg.
Take note that the mayor of Kongsamba 1, El Aj Umaru, alongside a subdivisional delegation of Habitat and Urban Development, as well as other local authorities, went down to the scene to condole with the people after they expressed their frustration. The population is, however, also blamed partly for this situation due to their incivic attitude they portray by dumping waste into gutters, thus resulting to floods. And now we move on to other news stories in Cameroon, as the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has frowned at revival churches, commonly called born-again churches, for either promoting or preaching the non-respect of COVID-19 barrier measures. In a strongly worded circular letter, the minister asked governors of various regions to simply shut down these houses of worship. This is what Venasius tells us in the following report.
Reading from the letter of St. Paul to the Romans, chapter 13, verse 1, Paul cautions the followers of Christ to submit and respect all authorities, for every authority comes from God. It is the logic behind this biblical injunction that the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, addressed an ultimatum to revival churches who have been instructing their faithfuls to disrespect state authorities in the respect of barrier measures to curb the spread of coronavirus pandemic. According to the minister, with an example, some of these churches claim that only prayers can conquer the virus. Others instead brandish their own solution, which is the use of holy water, which to them can halt the spread of the virus. The minister noted with dismay the consequences of such an act, as many of these pastors from the churches preach that their Christians should not use face mask. That was the situation in Yaoundé, that some children failed to write their official exams because the exam officials demanded the use of face mask as a condition to sit in for the exercise, an act which Prophet Stephan Zipsin of the Cameroon Baptist congregation thinks that if churches teach their Christians to respect the word of God without applying them, then they are no longer respecting God. As such, he condemns such manner of preaching from pastors, an opinion which Pastor Nde Jires shares, indicating that they have been respecting these measures even before the minister's injunction. In the secular letter, Minister Paul Atanganji gives such churches no opportunity, instructing regional governors to summarily close the doors of such places of worship for the good of Cameroonians.
Traditional rulers of Olangini, that is in the Mefu and Afamba division of the Central region of Cameroon, have been schooled on ways to better understand and make use of the existing state and customary laws in order to settle land disputes. This was during a sensitization workshop organized by the Peace and Reconciliation Committee of the Archdiocese of Yaoundé. Ate Bonaventure completes that story.
A platform to arm traditional rulers with the right instruments of land dispute resolution, conflicting opinion to customary and modern laws relating to land litigation has been a veritable source of untold suffering in Cameroon. It is a peculiar phenomenon in Olangena in the Mefo-Afamba division of the Central region. Unending court cases on land disputes usually lead to psychological discomfort, depression, and sometimes death. Traditional rulers are thus called upon to play their role diligently as first people who intervene in such conflicts. This sensitization workshop is an initiative of the Justice and Peace Commission of the Yaoundé Archdiocese. It had as objective to reinforce the capacities of local chiefs of the Eduma community on better ways of settling litigations. The exchanges include brainstorming, presentation of case studies, and testimonies. Cameroon has maintained the coexistence of national and native laws since independence in 1960.
Students of Government Bilingual Technical High School, Kumasi, that is in Douala, have been encouraged to expand their technical ability into mass production. This was within the context of the Open Door Days organized this day in Douala. Report by Venasius.
A regular rendezvous within the academic calendar of technical schools in Cameroon in which schools showcased their level of passing skills to the students. Open Door Days give parents an opportunity to appreciate the training their children have acquired in schools. At Government Bilingual Technical High School, Bonadumbe, in Kumasi, Douala, it was an occasion where knowledge is transferred from concept to reality. From woodwork, mechanics, electrical domains to welding, home economics, and craft works, these students demonstrate their knowledge of coming up with these items by explaining the procedures to the visitors. Given the importance of the event, local administrators and traditional rulers turned out to have a full taste of what these Cameroonians have been equipped with for the development of the country at large and their well-being. Knowledge which the regional delegate of secondary education for Littoral Region, Guillaume Ernest Edjang, attests, calling on them to go an extra mile in mass production.
We have seen today in Government Technical High School, Douala Kumasi, how these students have talent with what they have done at the level of technical studies, where we saw how we can wash our hand automatically just through putting your hands in front of a tap, and then you have soap to wash your hands. So we have seen how these students have done many activities, and we just expect that proprietors of enterprises who are going around with us have seen, and then we will encourage these various schools, and especially the students, to produce what they have done at a higher level.
Talent which have been explored to meeting current needs, such as this disinfectant made by students. Disinfectants that are in high demand, especially at this COVID-19 period.
Back in the West region, and notably in the Masagam Council, the authorities of the municipality have stretched out a hand of help to less privileged and needy persons within the municipality. The reach out this March 24 began at the esplanade of the Masagam Council with the handing of wheelchairs and crutches to physically challenged persons, this by Mayor Foku Abubakar. It was followed by a visit to some government primary schools where over 173 benches were donated to the school administrators. The over 40 schools that benefited expressed their relief, as it would help them ensure the education of the children as well as the respect of COVID-19 barrier measures. Here is Obi Ogem Patrick of GBPS Mankumbi. He spoke to Alexi Yangwa in the West region. Listen.
I want to thank the Lord Mayor of Masangam for this wonderful gesture. You know, this is going to help us a lot, because the children at first were not sitting freely. So it will enable them to sit freely, and also to respect the barrier measures put in place by the government. The children are supposed to sit at least a meter apart. So it's going to help even the teachers in the facilitation of their work, and to respect the barrier measure put in place by the government to respect the COVID-19. So I want to appreciate him and thank him so much for this gesture. What he has done go a long way to educate the children in Masanga, because education we appreciate, and in this what we see may be little, but it is not, because it's going to help the children a lot. And
news out of Cameroon, Mahmoud Al-Wefali, who is the senior military commander who is wanted by the International Criminal Court, has been shot dead yesterday in Libya. And out of the African continent, European leaders have met today in order to find solutions to growing tensions related to supplies of COVID-19 vaccines within the continent. The virtual meeting was marked by the presence of the President of the United States, Joe Biden. Details of these stories in the Africa Roundup page with our intern, Rogea Tububa.
A senior Libyan military commander, Mahmoud Al-Wefali, wanted by the International Criminal Court for alleged war crimes, has been shot dead in the eastern city yesterday. Mahmoud and his cousin sustained injuries after the shot and died on arrival at the medical center. He had 2 arrest warrants pending before the International Criminal Court. He was accused by the court of war crimes, torture, cruel treatment, and other inhumane crimes. Last week, Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Dbeibah said his interim government will open an investigation after the discovery of bodies in the eastern city. The European Union and the United Kingdom are trying to resolve a dispute over COVID-19 vaccine supplies. The United States President Joe Biden addresses the 27 European Union leaders by video link this evening. Host Charles Michel, the president of the Leaders European Council, had hoped to hold a substantive face-to-face summit, but was forced to accept a stripped-down video conference as European Union members reinstated lockdown measures. The AstraZeneca pharmaceutical firm was due to distribute around 90 million doses in the first quarter of the year, but that number was cut to 30 million. As a result, the European Commission decided to set up rules on the export of vaccines produced in the bloc.
With that, we draw the curtains for this Thursday edition of the news on DBS television with me, Cynthia Ngwemo. Thanks very much for watching, and we do hope to see you when we return tomorrow for a fresh and last edition of the week. Thanks very much. Good night.